So starting from the outside, this thing is all pine that I got. It's white pine from down the road in Guilford, Connecticut. I got the hinges from Wade Barrett, which are pretty nice pintle hinges that screw into the timbers. Let me back out and we're gonna go in here. It's frozen up. Inside, I had a poured concrete slab for all my woodworking stuff in here, but so I constructed this with 8x8s mostly in 3 what are called bents, and a bent is the sections of it that go from front to back, and there's the stairs there. I'll talk about them in a second. So 8x8s here. Notice here on the pegs in the posts. The posts are actually 8x12, and they are a dovetail joint. I'll show you that in a minute over in the corner where you can see it good. This big beam in the middle, so I didn't want to have any supports in my way in the middle of the barn. So I have this giant 10x14 beam going right up the middle, and this building is 18 feet by 18 feet, so this is an 18-foot span. With that, you can see the sawmill marks and that. And then I did a double door here in the front. There's my table saw, and of course my flag, complete with Ranger and SF tabs and a CID. Can't do without those. I made this bench too out of some leftovers plus some nice slab tops, planes. Here's the slick that I used to build this. It's a pretty sweet one. It was made in the late 1800s. I've got that little spot for it. Couple planes, a bunch of stuff. I forgot I'm talking about the barn here, not the tools. Got some saws hanging up on that big beam. Also, these, if you look close at the ceiling here, most of them are 3x6, but there are these occasional, there's one 8x8 that actually dovetails from the top onto this side. These are called girts on the side, or tie beams, and they overlap onto this beam, so it ties the building together this way with dovetails across that, and you can kind of see the end of them. There's the end of the dovetail of that beam right there. And then this beam that supports the staircase opening is also dovetailed over the top of that beam right there. All right, so I'm gonna go with my shaper in the way here. I should talk about that thing sometime. It's pretty freaking cool. Stairs, so I made the stairs too out of same pine wood. I didn't want to use any nails, so I went with kind of the wedged and recessed approach. I got this blanket here because it keeps the heat in when I run the heater down here. But upstairs in this place is a gambrel roof. And I'm going to show you how that kind of works here in a minute with how I framed it. So I'll give you a quick view here. I did a huge ridge beam in this too, which you don't really need to do, but that's a full span ridge beam. But right here is where I wanted to show you the most. This kind of shows how this thing is really built. So here is a tie beam coming into the post, and this barn's built with what's called a tie below plate method of framing. So I'm gonna grab a pointer here real quick. So this is the tie beam going into the post. This is actually just a ridiculously beefy joist that's running between them. But this is called the plate up here, which is sitting on top of the post, but it's mortise and tenoned in and pegged right there. And then each one of these rafters is notched, cut at an angle on the back, but then these notches are cut to receive it. And then they're pegged on the back. You can't see it, but and then that goes up to, since this is a gambrel roof, it goes up to a secondary plate where the two pitches kind of come together. I'll go up there in a second, but this is ultimately how a lot of timber frames are built. One particular thing is if you were to look inside this joint, it actually looks like this thing, except upside down. So there's a dovetail joint inside here that this tie beam drops down onto, and then this here is a wedge in that holds it together. But if you were to crack that puppy open, it looks like this. I should have got a GoPro or something for this. But like this big old, this thing is sitting in there basically like that. So it drops in there, and then that wedge is holding it on the top. Let me get rid of that thing. I just keep it there for funsies. Let me go up here. So upstairs, like I said, I actually framed it so it's full height, so I can walk around up here. But the way this is framed, so you've got basically a secondary plate right here that sits on top of those posts. And then these are mortise and tenon together there. And then that runs the lower set of rafters, and then the top ones go up over the plate, over the ridge, and come together. Now, one thing I did up here too, there's my mountain bike and some other stuff up here. It's like a whole nother shop up here. One thing I did to keep, again, I wanted posts out of my way in the middle of the barn, so I made this kind of unique truss that ties directly into the side of these rafters in the middle and then spans all the way across. And the gambrel roof makes for a nice wood storage inside the rafters. But anyway, that thing was kind of cool, because if that wasn't there, you'd have to have a post right here, and it would have got in my way, and I didn't want to do that. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. I got some of the tools that I like to use up here. Super nice broad axe for hewing. So anyway, that's the barn. People keep saying I need to make a video, so I did. Thanks.